What is going on, Nuggets Nation NBA fans? My name is Tom Leuthner. Welcome back to another episode of Nuggets Today, brought to you by Fan Art. We're officially partnering with Kalshi for the NBA playoffs, and I'll get to that in a little while. But I do want to start with the Western Conference now and some players per division that I think could be good pickups for Denver, or just breaking down teams and saying if there are any players that I would like from any teams. But the first team to start with is a team that there's not really anybody that I would say is available for the Denver Nuggets to go ahead and pick up, but there is a way to make a move if Denver wants to with this team. And it sounds a little awkward because why would they make a move with the Oklahoma City Thunder? They wouldn't. I mean, again, every single player is on a team option for this upcoming year. If they are going to be a free agent, they're on a team option for the Oklahoma City Thunder outside of Brooks Baumheiser, Braden Carlson, and that's about it. I mean, everybody else is, like I said, on a team option or under contract. So Hartenstein's on a team option, Lou Dort's on a team option, Kenrich Williams is on a team option, Kaysen Wallace, Nikola Topic, Jared McCain. I see them keeping Jared McCain, Kaysen Wallace 100%. But the two guys who are potentially being shopped are Hartenstein and Lou Dort. The reason for that is because Hartenstein's making $28.5 million. Lou Dort's making $18.2. And when you look at Kaysen Wallace, when you look at AJ Mitchell, they're going to be due for eventual paydays. So you can't really afford every single player. And when it comes down to a guy like Kaysen Wallace, you want to keep him. I mean, AJ Mitchell's on contract with the team option until 27-28. Like I said, Kaysen Wallace is going to need the extension this upcoming year, and you want to make sure that those guys are extended. One of those two guys can be traded just because Oklahoma City is in that second apron, or will be hard capped at the second apron if they do keep everybody. And that's the reason they want to move on for Hartenstein and Lou Dort. Like I said, I believe that they accept the options just to make them trade chips. Now, the reason I say Denver can hop in a move is Denver's going to want to shop Christian Braun potentially. They're going to want to shop Zeke Najee's contract since he's already into that extension phase. So they may be able to jump into a trade, whether that be a trade with the Brooklyn Nets, whether that be a trade, potential Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes. I don't think the Thunder will be in those sweepstakes just because of his contract, but if the Bucks want to go ahead and make a move and take on some younger players and want to throw one or two vets at the Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver might be able to hop in and make one team take Zeke Najee's contract just to make the finances work. Hartenstein is a guy who, from what I've been seeing over in the Nets community, that the Brooklyn Nets would want. That means that the Thunder would get Nick Claxton. Would I be happy about that? Absolutely not. Nick Claxton's a defensive menace, and playing alongside Chet Holmgren could be filthy. But if that's the case, then they want to make something work where Nick Claxton's contract is, I believe it goes down per year now. It was more money up front. That may mean that they need somebody to hop in. I don't think the Nets need anybody to really hop in to make that trade work, but they can take on Zeke Najee's contract even if Denver is getting only a second for Zeke Najee. I like Zeke Najee. I think he played well, but again, it just comes down to whether Denver wants to hold on to that contract or whether they want to use that kind of money to re-sign P-Watt, to go ahead and sign another free agent, to get a center, to even maybe use that those 2 seconds that they would have to move up in the second round and get a guy like Zuby Ejiofor. So I could see Denver hopping into a trade like that in order to move on from a contract. I don't see them making any moves with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The other team I don't see them making any moves with is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Timberwolves are an interesting team because they just end up losing to the Spurs in the second round. I mean, they won their finals, and their finals is literally just beating Denver. But there are some players who are free agents that you can go ahead and look at. I would assume there's not going anywhere. Pretty sure that Denver wouldn't even try to make anything happen. I don't think the Timberwolves would help Denver in any way by trying to help them shed salary in order to sign Payne Watson, because why would they want Denver to get better? The other two teams in this conversation have a better case as to why they would help Denver, and it's not really helping Denver, it's more helping themselves. But the Minnesota Timberwolves don't have many players that they can really go that Denver can really go after. Jaden McDaniels on contract till 28-29 with a player option 29-30. Anthony Edwards on contract till 28-29. Rudy Gobert with a player option 27-28. Julius Randle with a player option 27-28. Naz Reid is on contract until 29-30 with a player option. Jaden McDaniels doesn't have a player option. Naz Reid does. Dante obviously misses the season. He's on contract for one more year. I would assume he was going to be a free agent, which they're going to go ahead, I think, and get him back. Terrence Shannon, 2 team options. Bones Highland is an upcoming free agent. The one player, which sounds so weird, who's an upcoming free agent that if I'm the Denver Nuggets, I'm going to target, is Mike Conley. And I know it sounds so weird, but Mike Conley may call it quits. He may retire. And I'm not saying that he is great by any means, but if Denver is going to eventually open up, I'm not saying it's tough too. I'm not saying that this should be a priority for them to go sign Mike Conley. What I'm saying is that if you're going to look at a player who can be a potential fit for the Denver Nuggets, go ahead and bring him in on the last roster spot. Like I said, he's not going to be the biggest player in the world, but if you're able to bring him in as that last roster spot, what was Tyus Jones's contracts, or what was Tyus Jones's spot, why not bring him? I mean, you look at what he did against San Antonio, it's nothing special. He 6'5", 8-0, and 3 in the points column. The assist column 4-2, 0, and 3. Again, not great. His field goal percentage was iffy. It wasn't anything crazy, but when you look at the entire playoff run, obviously he had to come and take a bigger role after Dante DiVincenzo gets hurt. He shoots 50% from the three-point line, taking 2.2 attempts per game. His field goal percentage was also 50%. He didn't shoot too much. He was averaging 14 minutes a game. He put up 4.4 points, 3 assists per game. If Denver has an open roster spot on the last spot of the bench, why not give it to Mike Conley? He's probably not going to request much, but at the same time, he may end up calling it quits at the end of this year and retiring. So if Denver can get it done, I think that they should go after him just as that last spot for a cheap contract if you are looking for somebody. If not, then I guess you just let him go, and Denver has to roll with a point guard in the draft. Now, before we continue, real quick, a word from our partner. The playoffs are here. Obviously, it's an exciting time of the year. Finals are coming up pretty soon, and on Kalshi, you can trade on every single playoff game, every single series, the conference finals, and the NBA championship. So it's an open market, and you can look at any single team to win the NBA championship right now if you just download the app and go on to the sports page. You can look at basketball, go to Pro Men's Basketball, and you can find the potential futures, and the futures are right now the NBA championship, and there are only 5 teams left at the time of this recording. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Detroit, which one of those teams is now going to be eliminated eventually, New York, San Antonio, and Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City have the best odds to win it right now, but if I want to look at the New York Knicks, who have a 15% chance, according to Kalshi in the live market, if I put down $100, $629.22 payout with the odds of plus 529. Now, Kalshi is an open market, which means you are not you're trading against live peers in a market. There's no house, and as the probabilities changes, you can buy in or out of your position at any time. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCHBASKETBALL, which is right under my head right now, to get $10 when you trade your first 10. Kalshi, Kalshi, trade on anything. Now back to your regular scheduled programming. I wanted to get that out quick because I know some of you guys aren't the biggest fans of those, but I do need to do them. I guess unfortunately for you guys, fortunately for me, because we do have a partner who is helping fund a little bit of the episode. But when you look at the Portland Trailblazers, this is an interesting team. And the reason I say that is because they have some large contracts of vets that they probably want to get off. Drew Holiday, 35 years old, on a $34 million deal this upcoming season and a player option of $37 million. Jeremy Grant, 32 years old, same exact deal, almost $34 million this upcoming year, 36 the year after that on a player option. Denny's going to need to be extended because his contract does, same thing as Nick Claxton, goes down per year. Robert Williams, Matisse Thybulle are both upcoming free agents. Scoot Henderson on a $13 million deal. Shadon Sharp on a $20 million deal. That does extend. So does Donovan Clingan. Blake Wesley is a guy who's going to end up being a free agent. Now, I think that this team is interesting because, like I said, the 2 guys who are free agents, I actually like both of them. And I know within the Nuggets community, people hate the idea of Denver picking up Matisse Thybulle, but I also don't mind it. The only reason that I would mind it a little bit is because of the injury history, and supposedly people don't think his offensive game is great, and I understand that, but at the same time, I would be fine with picking up a player like him. I think that he is 100% a good player, the length that Denver wants. He could shoot the ball a little bit. I believe he ended up torching Denver at some point during this season. I could be a little bit wrong. But I do think that he's a good player. I do think that he could help out. Rob Williams is the guy I'm really looking at. Rob Williams is a potential monster for the Denver Nuggets. I think that he could be a good power forward / center combo. We saw him taking some threes this year which is great because if Denver could have that, Nikola Jokic can shoot in his, he comes back to his prime form. You have Rob Williams next to him. That could be great for this Denver Nuggets team. It's exactly what they need. It's the rim protection. It's the three-point shooting. He's a veteran big man now. He has the experience. I mean, you look at what he did. He had the experience with the Boston Celtics. He now has the experience with the Trailblazers. I do want to go back and I want to look at his stats because I'm not really sure the numbers in the playoffs, but if Denver could get him for a cheaper contract, the only thing was he was making $13 million this past year. But in this playoff run, he dropped 9.6 points per game, 7.4 rebounds per game, 2.6 assists, 1 block per game, not even half a turnover per game. He shot 33% from the outside, which isn't terrible because he's not a three-point shooter. And he shot 63% from the field in 21.6 minutes. He is one of the better backups in the NBA. That's in that 5-game span. He was making $13.2 million this past year. I don't know if he makes that in the upcoming year just because you look at his health as well. Since 2022, 2023, 35 games, 6 games, 20 games, 59 games. So this is the most games that he's played since 2021-22. But if Denver could bring him in on a cheaper contract, potentially a vet minimum, I think it could be great. I also want to revisit a trade that there's somebody in the comments was talking about a couple episodes ago, and I did bring it up. Jrue Holiday and Scoot Henderson for Jamal Murray. Sounds terrible, and I know that people are going to hate that I say this. I think Jamal Murray is the contract that needs to go, and it sounds weird, but Jrue Holiday would be on a contract for 2 more years or 3 more years. I think 2 more years with the 1 year in player option. Scoot Henderson is an expiring contract. This would be more of a win-now move for Denver, where you bring in Scoot Henderson as a young guy. You're not going to be able to extend him. Peyton Watson still needs to be extended. If you're able to make this move, cut Jamal's salary, which would be $1.7 million for Denver on the books. You end up waiving Valanciunas, where you save that $6 million, $6 to $7 million. Then you bring in, or you are able to attempt to trade Cam Johnson, then I think that could be a great move because then you cut the salary for Peyton Watson, depending on what that Cam Johnson trade would look like. You bring in a guard who's a great defensive guard in Jrue Holiday. You bring in Scoot Henderson. I think that the trade works. I know, again, people are going to be frustrated with that take. People hate the trade Jamal bandwagon, I guess you can say, but I've sort of been on it just because of his contract. His contract is going to age poorly. People don't realize that. Jrue Holiday shot 35% from the three-point line on 7 attempts per game in the playoff series. He averaged 16.4 points, 5.4 rebounds, 7 assists per game. He also shot 40% from the field, which isn't the best in the world, but he's playing 39 minutes a game against the San Antonio Spurs, who have one of the most stacked guard lineups in the NBA. So I would love that move potentially. The last team is the Utah Jazz. Now, somebody in the comments made a point about the Denver Nuggets making a move depending on what Utah does with their pick for Jaren Jackson Jr. And that's why I have, is there a recent addition on the block? And that would be Jaren Jackson Jr. He had a good season for the 48 games he played. He averaged 19.4 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 2 assists per game. He is a rim protector. He shot 33% from the three-point line, which isn't great on 5 attempts per game, so that's not something I'd be too happy about. But they may end up looking to make a move if they do move up for AJ DeBanso, but I also don't see that being the full-on case. The reason I say I don't see that being the case is just because if you look at their team, Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., Ace Bailey, Cody Williams, Walker Kessler's potentially going to be brought back, Keontae George, Bryce Sensabaugh, Kyle Filipowski, Isaiah Collier, and then you end up bringing in a guy like AJ DeBanso or Darren Peterson if they do move on from that pick. They're going to be loaded. But a guy that I do think Denver can make a potential move for, which I'm not too sure if they can 100%, but I think he'd be the easiest player, 28-year-old shooting guard Svi Mykhailiuk. Now, it's weird to say that, but 40% three-point shooter on 4.8 attempts per game, playing 23 minutes in the 50 games he played. He averaged 9.4 points per game. And the good thing about Svi is he is on a small contract. He's on a $3.6 million deal, 3.8 next year, and a team option of 4.0 next in 27-28. So I don't see them really moving on from him. But if Denver can go ahead and make them some kind of offer, I think you may have to attach that pick, which I don't see them fully doing. John Konchar is another guy that I would look at. He's probably I feel like the most likely to be traded just because he's 30 years old and he is on contract till 26-27, which would be next offseason. Another guy who I think is a good player. You look at what he did this year. He didn't play many games, played 26 games, averaged 4, 4, and 2. Another guy who can shoot the lights out at times. I mean, he only shot 25% from three-point line this year, but he's a 35% three-point shooter throughout his career. He's been on some teams. I think Denver could potentially make a move for him, but it's nothing that I'd be jumping out of my seat in joy about. So this is tough because this is Denver's division as well, so I don't see many teams making the move. I would not do the Jaren Jackson Jr. move. I didn't really give my full opinion. I wouldn't do that move just because I know he's 26 years old, but he's on a $49 million in 26-27. He's on a $50.5 million 27-28. In 28-29, he's on a $52 million deal and has a player option for a $53.5 million deal in 29-30. If I am Denver, I love the idea of Jaren Jackson Jr., but I do not want to bring on that kind of contract when I can just go ahead and sign players who, if he's going to be injured, are going to do the same thing when he sits out. So, very good player. I think he could make a massive impact for this Jazz team. I do see them, I think, moving Lauri Markkanen before Jaren Jackson just because he's 2 years older. And if Denver wants to bring Jusuf Nurkic home, then why not go ahead and do so? He's probably going to be cheap on the market this year. He actually had a pretty good year. He was averaging 10, 10, and 5 or right around 11, 10, and 5 for the Utah Jazz in the 41 games he played. When you look at his stats, he was extending the floor a little bit, taking 2 or 3s per game, averaging 35 or shooting 35% from the outside. So if they can get him on a vet minimum, why not bring him home? I doubt he would do it though. So that is all I got for you guys today, Nuggets Nation. Like I always say, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well as comment down below if you guys want me to cover anything. And I'll catch you guys next episode.